Join me in welcoming Joann Moore. Hey, Joann, how you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing so good, thanks. Today is the exciting day of the launch of your book, 31 Days of Choices, Transitioning Change into My Life. But first, tell us just a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, you know what? It's funny. People ask me that, and I'm always like, I just want everybody to be happy. But it's, and I know that's not always possible. I mean, I catch myself doing that too. But I do my best to uplift people and to help them find alternate solutions to whatever happens to be bothering them in the moment. And yeah, I do tend to focus on the more positive side of things. And Um, one of Abraham Hicks is like my favorite saying, one who is connected to source is more powerful than millions who are not. So I'm trying to be that one that's kind of uplifting everybody. And I think, yeah, there's always a better way to see things. We just need to step back, take a deep breath, and keep going.
I love that. That's a great quote, too. So tell us a little bit about your book. It's a journal. Tell us what inspired you to write it.
Well, it's actually a culmination of different steps that I took to transition my life because I found the transformation was extremely stressful, and the mind and the body tend to rebel just a little bit when you do too much at once. And since we all try to change things in our lives, and some of it fits comfortably with what we're trying to do, and some of it doesn't. So this is what I chose to do: was take a series of daily steps, just little itty bitty ones, and every day do something different, and just one step at a time. And that's how you climb a mountain. It's just one step at a time, and so it becomes a transition instead of a transformation. It makes it a little bit easier on you. Oh, I lost you. Can't hear you.
Let's try turning on the volume. That always helps better, doesn't it? So, when a person is journaling, there's some people that are really good at it and some people that's brand new.
Yeah.
Can you give some insights into a person who's never done journaling, how they can get started in journaling?
um Yeah, I had a hard time with that in the beginning too. And I just started, you know what I started with? I'm writing a sentence now. And now I'm writing another sentence. And now I'm writing another sentence. And then things just started to flow after that. And sometimes that's all you need to get started. The purpose behind this particular journal is it gives you something to focus on. So you have a little tiny idea and you can just let it expand. Sometimes one sentence is enough, and that's the key, is to not put too much pressure on yourself. If you're going to journal and you find that you're stuck after one sentence, that's okay. Let it be okay, because you can always come back and try again later, but the hardest part is picking up the pen and putting the pen to paper. If you can get that done, the rest of it will come. You just have to be patient with yourself. And that was something I had a lot of trouble with too, because I used to run a restaurant and everything was do 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 do. So yeah,
Yeah.
one sentence at a time. That's it.
Oh, that's good. That's really freeing to just, because so many of us, and you were talking about with the restaurant, so many of us, we get caught in that I'm supposed to, I have to, I got to get it all done right now. I got to do.
Yep, guilty.
I appreciate that. Just, yeah, let's just write a sentence. Maybe even break it down for some of us. Okay, can you do one word?
Hmm.
And do it one word at a time.
Yeah.
I love that. So, what can we expect in our 31 days of choices?
I think for me, what I found out was that just because Tom Smith down the road said this is the way you have to do it, and Susan James over there said, no, this is the way you have to do it. When you take the time to choose what you're looking at each day, you realize you actually have more choices than you think you do. So by the end of the 31 days, you're going to end up feeling just a little bit more free about what you can do with your life. And those stumbling blocks that you think are stumbling blocks are just going to become little pebbles on the pathway. And you're going to be able to just waltz over them and go, wow, that was pretty easy. What can I do next? And then you're going to get excited all over again, and you're going to find the next thing and the next thing. And it's just going to blossom just like a flower. Just open up and watch all the petals go.
Oh, I love that. Transitioning change into my life. Change and transition, those are both really scary words sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
What does it empower you with when you think of transitioning change?
Well, we especially nowadays on media. I don't know about you, but I notice there's a lot of different things, and people are always saying this is the way things are supposed to be, and this is what, if you're not doing this, you should be doing this. And change is a scary word. It really is. It shouldn't be, because nature changes 4 times a year depending on where you live, and trees change their leaves every year. The same flower doesn't pop up every year. It's always a little bit different from the year before. So change is natural. But for some reason, we get into a pattern, and it's as simple as getting up in the morning. You get up the same time every day. You get dressed, you go to work, you do the same thing every day. You go home, you go do the same thing, and you go to bed and you start all over. So implementing change into that seems monumental. So when you take the time to transition change, it doesn't become so monumental. It just becomes like changing your socks. A little bit easier.
I like that. The thing I loved most about the book is, it's so deep and yet it isn't at all. If you understand what I mean by that, it is so simple and yet it takes you on this really deep dive. I mean, if you let yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about that.
And
Tell us a little bit about some of the breakthroughs you've had using this 31 days.
Well, that's coming back to the change part. I mean, I used to run a restaurant, so my day would start very early. I would get up, I would meditate, I would do my stretches, and then I'd go start my specials and go to work and do all that fun stuff. End my day with paperwork, a walk, and then go to bed and start all over again. So trying to implement a change, like starting a coaching business and a couple of other online businesses, and reaching out to people instead of having them, like the advantage of having the restaurant was people are always coming to me and asking me questions. So in the 31 days, which I repeated a couple times, because your mind likes to repeat things, it makes it easier to learn, but it made it easier for me to take one little step and then realize that, oh, I can actually do this. And if I do one more little step, I can do just a little bit more. So in a short period of time, I went from having no online experience to learning how to make Zoom calls and learning how to reach out to people. More than I was able to send emails before and post on Facebook, but now I can send messages and send files and do Facebook things and set up a Calendly account and manage all those fun things and actually have funnels set up and all that, so but it was all one little step, one little choice, one little step, one little choice, one thing at a time.
I love that. So let's talk a little bit about the resistance to change. Why are we so resistant? Even though the change is going to be good for us, why are we so resistant to it?
Oh, because we're comfortable where we're sitting. And I mean, let's face it, I was comfortable in the restaurant. I knew exactly what I was going to do every single day. The customers would change from day to day, absolutely. But I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew exactly when I was going to get up. I knew when I was going to put the specials on the board and who I was going to talk to. give or take, the odd person, but how I was going to serve, when my day was going to end. And so changing that, it seemed scary. Like, who am I to reach out to talk to people and introduce them to something new? I think it was Marianne Williamson said, "Who are you not to?" It's stepping out of that comfort zone. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain that, actually, because we're comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes any sense at all. It's like doing the restaurant. There were days I was absolutely exhausted, but I knew exactly what I was doing. Now I don't know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow. Actually, I don't even know exactly what I'm doing this afternoon, but I'm okay with that, because it's gone from the fear to the excitement. And those two emotions are actually very closely attuned. And it's the mind that changes the emotion from excitement to fear, or from fear to excitement. And if you let your mind, and this is where your 31 choices come in, if you choose to see something nice every day, or something pleasant, or something a little more uplifting than what you normally look at, then the change becomes less resistant, and the comfort zone becomes less of a comfort zone. And then you start looking forward to the excitement and what you can change. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, it does. So you say you have a coaching business, and that means that you help people. What kind of people do you work with, and how can they get in contact with you?
Well, the easiest way to get in touch with me is either on Facebook, or you can email me at breathtolifecoaching@gmail.com. What I help people with primarily is stress and anxiety, because I was living it. And I help you with that through a series of conversations and a few questions and a little bit of breath work. And the breath work is actually what saved my, I'm going to say my heart, because with anxiety becomes heart palpitations and a few other things. But that's a medical description we're not going to get into right now. But I adapted longer versions of breath work into breath play, so that these are things you can implement in the moment when you feel the anxiety building. So but it's not something that you need to live with. I mean, we all experience stress every day, absolutely, 100%. I even have moments of but I stop. I have because of the practice that I've been doing, is have the wherewithal to stop and breathe and refocus and go, wait, not, man, I have so much to do, is, oh, how much can I get done now? And it's just a simple way of changing your words around and taking a deep breath. And just anybody can try this right now. A shorter breath in, so breathe in for 4, and then breathe out for 7. And then breathe in for 4, and breathe out for 7. And even with those 2 breaths, I bet you feel just a little bit different. Now, if you were to do that for 1 full minute, imagine how much calmer everything would be. So 1 minute out of the day, you can shift your whole perspective.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love and hate breath work all at the same time, because I tend to be, having come from a singing background, I tend to be a deeper breather than many people do. So a lot of times when they say breathe in for 4 seconds, I'm like, no, I breathe in longer than that. But I love that stuff so much. The book is called 31 Days of Choices, Transitioning Change into My Life. You can actually get it for free today. I just put the Amazon.com link on there. And if you need any other countries, just reach out to Joann. We can get that for you as well. But do get your free copy today. this book's going to be a bestseller before the day's over. I'm really excited and looking forward to it. Joann, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been exciting.